Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a topic that is, I think, a truly silent epidemic in the workplace: occupational hearing conservation, or OHC.
Right. It's one of those core safety elements that, often gets treated like an afterthought.
Just a box to check.
Exactly. Because the consequences, they aren't sudden or dramatic. They're slow.
Insidious, really.
Oh.
Devastatingly permanent.
And that slow nature of the damage is precisely why it's so critical. I mean, we rely on our hearing for everything,
For safety cues, communication.
orientation, you name it. And yet, the damage from excessive noise is irreversible. When those delicate hair cells in your inner ear are gone, they are gone forever.
So this isn't just about preserving a sense.
No, it's about maintaining cognitive function, your long-term quality of life, on the job and, long after.
And the scale of this quiet danger is it's enormous. We're not just talking about loud factories
Mhm.
or construction sites. I saw a number from regulatory bodies that said over 22 million workers in the U.S. alone
22 million.
are exposed to potentially damaging noise at work every single year.
That statistic, just-
Yeah.
it frames the challenge perfectly, doesn't it?
It's like the entire population of Florida walking into this invisible risk every day.
Right. And given that massive continuous exposure, we can't just have surface-level safety talks. So I think our mission for this deep dive is to really dissect the core elements of the training programs designed to protect those millions of employees.
So we're going beyond just wear earplugs.
Way beyond. We need to understand how the training is structured. What are the key concepts that actually make a difference?
Absolutely. So let's start with the why. That seems like the foundation of any good program, right? The initial focus has to be on awareness.
It has to be. You have to move beyond simple rules and into the actual science of the injury.
And the risk is bigger than just hearing loss, isn't it?
Oh, much bigger. What's fascinating here is that the risk isn't just confined to your ear canal. The training has to emphasize the full systemic impact.
What do you mean by systemic?
Well, exposure to high noise levels it's significant physiological stressor on your entire body. We see links to increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, even chronic fatigue.
So your body is basically in a constant state of high alert.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that impacts your cognitive performance, your attention span.
There's situational awareness.
Yes. So it creates this dangerous feedback loop. The loud environment causes stress, that stress reduces focus, and that could lead to an accident.
An accident that has nothing to do with not hearing a warning siren.
Exactly. It turns noise exposure into a multiplier for all these other safety risks.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, because lifting that why to the how means getting into the technical side of things. We hear terms like action level thrown around. Can we put a number on the danger?
We absolutely have to. The cornerstone of these programs is the 85 dBA action level.
Okay, DBA, break that down.
It stands for A-weighted decibels. It's a scale that basically mimics how the human ear perceives sound. And if your average exposure over an 8-hour shift hits or goes over that 85 dBA mark,
That's the trigger.
that's the trigger. The employer is legally required to implement a full hearing conservation program.
85 BBA. That doesn't sound incredibly high. What does that actually sound like in the real world?
Think of sustained heavy city traffic. Or maybe a loud vacuum cleaner running nonstop right next to you.
For your whole workday.
Exactly. It's not deafening, which is why it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's just loud enough to cause that cumulative damage without any immediate pain. And the key term here is time-weighted average, or TWA.
Right, because the damage adds up over time.
It does. And the standard uses an exchange rate. It allows for a doubling of the effective dose for every 3 dBA increase.
So what does that mean in practice?
It means you can only be exposed to, say, 88 dBA for 4 hours, or 91 dBA for 2 hours before you hit that dangerous daily dose.
Wow, so a worker really has to be aware of not just how loud something is, but for how long they're around it.
It demands a kind of internal calculus, which is why that initial training is so vital. If you don't understand the TWA concept, you might think 10 minutes in a super loud area is fine.
When it's actually doing acute damage.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
Even if your average for the day is technically okay.
Okay, so that solidifies the why. You have to understand the numbers. Let's shift to the second pillar, the how, the actual practical protection.
Earplugs and earmuffs.
Right. But just handing them out is, well, it's pretty much useless, isn't it?
It's the biggest failure point in any PPE program. Improper use and selection. We have to talk about the noise reduction rating, or NRR.
I've seen that on the packaging. What does it actually mean?
So every piece of hearing protection has this rating. It represents the maximum theoretical noise reduction you can get under perfect laboratory conditions.
Ah, perfect conditions, which never happens in the real world.
Never. So if your earplugs have an NRR of, say, 30, they theoretically block 30 decibels.
But I've heard you have to kind of cut that number in half.
That's the rule of thumb, and the training must cover this. Because of fit issues, because people take them in and out,
You have to derate the NRR significantly.
often by half or even more, just to get a realistic estimate of the actual protection you're getting.
Okay, so run the math for me.
Let's say you have an NRR 30 earplug. In the field, you might only rely on 15 decibels of real protection.
Okay.
If your work environment is 100 dBA, and your plug only gives you 15 dBA of protection, you're still getting 85 dBA of noise.
Right at the action level,
Yeah.
even while wearing protection.
Exactly. So it dramatically changes the conversation from are you wearing something to
Are you wearing the right thing, and are you wearing it correctly?
correctly is the key word. Training has to spend a lot of time on proper fitting.
Like with those foam earplugs, I feel like no one uses those right.
It's so common. Workers often fail to roll them into a really tight, thin cylinder before they put them in. If you don't do that and get them deep enough in the ear canal, they don't expand properly, they don't create a seal.
So they might feel like they're in, but they're doing almost nothing.
Almost nothing. For earmuffs, it's all about the integrity of that seal around your head.
Things that can break it, like glasses, long hair.
Glasses, beards, even a baseball cap. Anything that creates a gap. A 1 millimeter gap can render the NRR totally meaningless.
It all comes down to consistency then. Taking them off for even 5 minutes to take a call.
That 3 dBA exchange rate makes those short breaks incredibly risky. In a loud enough area, you could absorb a huge chunk of your daily permissible noise dose in just those few minutes.
Which brings us, I think, to the third pillar, the one that's most often overlooked.
Proactive measurement and verification.
This is where we shift from just individual responsibility to the whole system.
Yes, this is about equipping the employee to monitor and identify hazards themselves.
So giving them the tools and the vocabulary.
Exactly. The training needs to introduce the tools we use for noise assessment. There are two main types, the sound level meter, or SLM, and the dosimeter.
Okay, what's the difference?
A sound level meter is for spot checking. It gives you an instant reading of the noise in one place at one time.
Good for checking a new machine or something.
Right. But noise levels fluctuate all day. A worker moves around.
And that's where the dosimeter comes in.
Correct. The dosimeter is the really insightful tool. It's a small device the worker wears, usually clipped to their shoulder, and it monitors the noise continuously all shift, and it calculates that all-important time-weighted average.
So it tells you what their actual real-world exposure was for the entire day.
Yes. And if that dosimeter reading comes back too high, it's a sign that the process or the controls are inadequate. It's not just on the worker anymore.
That really shifts the employee from being a noise recipient to a noise sensor. They become part of the program.
They do. But the final, most critical piece of monitoring isn't about the environment. It's about verifying if the program actually worked inside the employee's ear.
And that means the audiogram, the hearing test.
The annual audiogram. And it's not just a pass-fail test. It's the legal cornerstone of the entire program.
Why is it so important?
The first one you take establishes a legal baseline for your hearing. Every test after that is compared against that original baseline.
To see if there's been a change.
A consistent significant decline. It's known as a standard threshold shift, or STS.
A standard threshold shift. That sounds official.
It is. It's the official medical and legal acknowledgement that the prevention program has failed for that individual. Permanent damage has occurred.
Wow. So an STS is basically a red flag that demands action.
Immediate action. The employer has to retrain the employee, refit their protection, and investigate the workplace to find out what went wrong. Without the audiogram, the program has no accountability. It's the ultimate check.
That really deepens the context. So the 3 pillars, they're not just steps, they're a loop.
The continuous verification loop.
You teach the risk, you provide the right protection, and you use monitoring, including the audiogram, to prove that the first 2 steps actually worked. So to sum this all up, we've taken a really comprehensive look at the structure of OHC training. We went beyond just wear earplugs to cover those 3 critical pillars.
First, understanding the real risk, both auditory and non-auditory, and that 85 dBA trigger.
Then, mastering the protection by understanding NRR and Most importantly, proper fit.
And third, that proactive monitoring, using the right tools and verifying it all with the annual audiogram.
Looking for that standard threshold shift.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what the sources really stress is that this knowledge is out there and it's accessible.
It's not some kind of mystery box.
Not at all. Whether you're an employee who wants better safety or a manager who has to implement this, the resources are there. The knowledge is highly actionable.
That's empowering. It sort of removes the excuse of ignorance when it comes to this kind of permanent damage.
It absolutely does.
So what does this all mean? We started with that shocking statistic, over 22 million workers facing this daily risk. And we've seen that prevention really hinges on understanding these technical standards and proactive testing. Given that these cumulative, quiet risks like noise exposure are often the easiest ones to overlook, what other essential safety awareness might you be overlooking in your own daily life? Are there silent, repetitive actions or environments that you've just gotten used to? Things that are steadily eroding a finite resource, whether it's your eyesight, your posture, or even just your energy. Maybe take a moment to scan your routine for those slow risks, the ones you only notice when it's already too late.